Hey everyone, so we are going to get into our moon cycle moon phase readings, and so let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on with this one. So particularly with the moon, I'm just going to be looking at to see what the moon's doing. The moment that you all will be watching this or beginning to watch this, there is going to be some energy of the waning gibbous. So there's this momentum going into the last bit of whatever you started on the new moon. So we had talked about that before, about that new moon. It was either in Capricorn or Taurus. I have to look back on the calendar of what that new moon was in. Regardless, whatever you started during those new moon times, this is coming towards the end. You know, you're not at the last quarter, but it is a momentum. It is a momentum in that the gibbous, the humpback, you know, of that illumination of going forth, of completing whatever the cycle is. And so with that energy going from, it's going to go like Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, literally just going down. But that waning energy is going to be Leo, Virgo, Libra. So you're going to have the same kind of moon energy going, and I got the shuffling the cards, the same type of moon energy going, but at the same time, different feels. Okay, so it's we're going to perceive it differently because of the way that the moon is connecting with us and channeling with us. Shout out to how to use the planets to read tarot. I hope you all enjoyed that correction. Yes, Virgo is the maiden. I think I said like only Aquarius was the only human-esque kind of person, but yes, Virgo is the maiden. Thank you for that correction. That makes sense. I looked at that, I was like, duh. That was dumb. Anyway, so going into this moon cycle reading. So I'm just pulling some cards based off of that energy of Leo, what did I just say? A Leo, Virgo, and Libra. So let's just see what's coming up with Leo first. Leo is the horn, okay? Something's going to be announced at this time. So Leo is the 28th, 29th. And so that's when things come to your attention, whether it's an actual like horn that's like dun, 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 or it's like some metaphorical thing. That is the attention that comes up and comes out. Virgo is bringing the gift. There is something that is going to come to you, and during this Virgo time when you're seeking knowledge, you're seeking the data, you're seeking the understanding of things, that's when the gift comes to you. Look at her. She is contemplating. She's in deep analytical, strategic thought in the way that Virgos do things. So there's that. And then Libra. Is this rabbit in this fox? I think Libra energy perfectly describes this because there is a crazy strength behind Libra, and then there's also this cute little whimsical energy behind Libra. So this is what it's saying. It's saying around that time of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you got to understand how to use your energy. You got to understand how to use your assertiveness when going about whatever it is that you started at the new moon cycle, as well as whatever's going on in life. Libra energy is not like Aries energy, which is its astrological opposite. It's not like attack, attack, attack. Libra energy is like, how can I be relatable? How can I finesse the situation? You know, how can I do this? Like you're looking for me, but are you looking for me? Like I want to turn it into a game where it's like you don't even know like you have an issue. It's just like, okay, it's cool, it's fun. And so that's that energy that is coming up during that time. And then you have the Knight. So this indicates to me that there's going to be some shadow work that begins to happen. And that makes sense because there's a Mercury going into retrograde at that period. So that's when you're freeing up space in your everyday life. Don't take on new shit. Only complete old stuff. And there's going to be some space to be doing that internal reflection whenever a planet goes retrograde. It doesn't mean negative. It just means that, you know, the energy doesn't express itself externally. It expresses itself internally. So that's where all the blessings are. So if you want to start, honestly, your meditation practice or pick it back up or do channeling or do healing or something where you're just really taking care of yourself, Retrogrades are the perfect time to do it. Like you can't lose. People forget that. Now you might want to start a group of people who do it, and it might be tough for you to do that stuff, but if it's just you, you'll do a fine job. New moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side, baby. Luck is on your side. Do not take it for granted. This is a very lucky time. Again, I cannot say enough about retrograde energy, because the 30th is when that retrograde energy is going to happen. Mercury in Aquarius. Be mindful of the day that things go into retrograde, that day before, that day behind, because that's usually when things are illuminated, or that's usually when things begin to take effect, and you really start to notice things. So try to take it as easy as you possibly can on those things. And we're also getting this energy. You're going to have this craving. You're going to want to take an action. You're going to be like, I want to do something. Do a planning. Planning is a wonderful thing to do as you are planning things out during this moon cycle, moon phase that we are going through. And then a new romance cycle begins. Now, here's the thing. Always falling in love with yourself first, because they're the person who will never leave you. And, you know, like, it works out. It works out 100% of the time when you fall in love with yourself. That doesn't mean you can't have other people. I'm just saying, you know, lead from that. Second thing is, there's going to be this new romance, this new romantic feeling, whether it is to a actual person or to some type of romantic experience in your life. Feel, you know, the romance of falling in love with a new hobby or something like that. That's going to come into your life, okay? But also know that it is more for you to take a break. So it's saying, like, you know, breathe in, breathe out, that kind of stuff, you know. Take time to breathe out, disseminating moon. So it's saying this romance may not last forever, but it's just for a break. So it might come suddenly. It might be a romantic kind of feel suddenly. And again, you don't have to stick to a person. It can be a person. It can be dating. Or it can be this falling in love with life. This sensation of life being this wonderful, beautiful thing that you fall in love with some passion. Falling in love with your baby, your child, your fur baby, whatever that is for you. Having that energy, I think, is really important, is really healing, really higher vibrationally. And then bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius. So this moment, particularly during this certain phase, is going to give you a lot of grace and compassion to bring love into your life. It's a very loving moment. It is, you know, it is a very, like, be sweet to yourself because you deserve it type thing. You know, it's not like, let's think about all the things you fucked up on in the past and figure it the fuck out. Like, no, it's not that at all. It's like, just bring love into the situation. You deserve it. You're very deserving of it. And the end of a tough cycle approaches. Full moon in Capricorn. So yes. So we're going into that new moon Aquarius through the cards, not in real life. I lied. We're going into, I'm just looking at it now. I said no, it could not be. But yes, on February 11th, we go into the new moon of Aquarius. Wonderful timing anyway. And you're ending a tough cycle. And I was just talking about this before, where Capricorn energy is really tough. If you make the best out of Capricorn energy, you will build something that will take a long time to break, okay? So that's the beautiful stuff. It's also tough. It's also rigid. When things are not balanced in their Capricorn energy, they can be toxic. Every sign has their, you know, ups and downs. So that's nothing to say about Capricorn. Capricorn will build an institution, but then it'll be really hard to tear that institution down. But bring love into the situation is new moon in Aquarius. So Aquarius is a Capricorn's drive with a little bit more compassion. And the compassion really has to do with being open to the fact that it doesn't have to be this institution. It can be a future that doesn't exist yet. And that comes from infusing the compassion into it. And so that's going to be coming up in the following reading of that new moon. So that means you all will be able to start these new things. So I said your spell work, your mantra work, your petition work, your light work, your manifesting work. All of those things are lovely to start either at the beginning of the month or at the beginning of a new moon. Sometimes, you know, it just depends on what you like. Do you want to follow the moon? Do you want to follow the month? Sometimes the month is at the beginning of the new moon, blah, 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 blah. So it's just up to you. about how you want to do that and finesse that in our Libra-esque ways, as we were just talking about. So again, with that energy coming up, but just in general, that continues to go until you hit your last quarter moon, which is going to be in Scorpio. And you know that Scorpio itself is very compassionate towards the transitional process and onto something else. The dying process is what I'm talking about. So there's going to be a part of you that dies, metaphorically. No, you're alive, you're gonna be fine, but there's gonna be a part of your personality that has to be released, that has to be let go, that has to be moved on to its next evolutionary path, so that it can see a clearness and you can be reborn. Because when something ends December 31st, it just begins again the next day, January 1st. You know, there's not this fear of not being able to live things out, but more of a daring to dream. Striking it big when it comes to the luck of connecting to the universe during this time. So, energetic helpers, universe, source, God, whatever it is that they feel comfortable referring to you as, asking that you bring any illuminating information during this phase of our moon cycle. Sacred sexuality, a very, very strong energy growing into you, just being aware of your sexuality. Sexuality can be love. It can also be your individuality, you know, just coming into you and being happy with who you are. And then shared wisdom. There's going to be this energy around you of like this collective coming together and wanting to gather information, gather wisdom, especially during Mercury retrograde times, because wisdom, which is, you know, wisdom, which is Sagittarius, is one part, but share wisdom and the collecting and the gathering and the bringing forth of wisdom is very Virgo-esque. Let me collect the data to understand what's going on. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So there's going to be a lot of this shared collective analytical understanding of how to improve things, especially since Aquarian energy has electricity elements. And so that's the technology elements. Let's see. And this is strength. You're going to find a new type of strength within yourself. Honestly, I'm getting a lot of love. A lot of love, a lot of peace, a lot of compassion, love within the self, love of the collective, feeling enough, feeling, you know, like feeling supported all around you, all that kind of lovely stuff. Ancestors, please bring us some wisdom, bring us some manifesting, bring us some insight for this moon cycle so that we can make the most out of it. We have the moon. So the moon is typically things that are done by night, but it's also the secrets, the things that we keep quiet, or the beautiful hidden parts of ourselves that we don't always get to talk about. We don't always get to share in these moments and just sit and reflect on. That is really what the moon is there. And then the whip. There's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of something that is just, it's going to be sudden. It's going to be like, boom, you know, and then you're going to have to acquiesce. You're going to have to figure it out really well. And then the sun, which we already had. Where did I put that? The sun itself is like bringing forth this new energy and this new ray and this new sense of like, you're waiting to exhale. You're just enjoying the moments. You know, I told myself a couple years ago, I was like, look, you know, whenever Mercury in retrograde comes along, I got the planets now. Whenever Mercury in retrograde comes along, I'm just going to take vacation. You know, I'm just going to enjoy it. And then I start thinking like, should I be flying? Should I be flying during these times? I don't know. But expect delays. So that's something that I definitely, think of. And yes, so it is saying Aries energy is something that is coming up, meaning like, be you, just do you. You know, do you show up as yourself, 100% yourself. Just show up as yourself, 100% of yourself. and 8th house, which is the Scorpio energy. So that's that energy of our last quarter moon. So showing up as you are during that date of February 4th, February 5th is really going to be quite meaningful to you. And on the 5th, it's going to transition into Sagittarius energy too. But that's going to be very meaningful to you, because you're going to feel like I'm not afraid to be me. I've arrived. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm here. You know, I've arrived. I've arrived. I've arrived. And I think that that's a beautiful thing to be able to have with yourself, to show up and to just, you know, arrive. Like, yes. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room. Waxing crescent. So let me see. We have the waning crescent that's going to be happening. So in this waxing crescent, it's inspiration, creativity, growth, accomplishment, and learning. So whatever came up for you in the beginning, when you were going through like, okay, I'm setting this initiative, or I'm setting this, whatever this is that's coming up in life, and I want to just sit and I want to be able to bring this into the New Year's. It's like really New Year's resolution, like, you know, or like, you start, now there's this kind of like emo New Year's thing where it's just like New Year's resolution, not like, let's not have a resolution, but let's have a resolution. Like, it's like that. It's like, let's try to be as practical as possible and do some regular ass shit so that we can actually make it and like really feel accomplished, instead of feeling shitty for not making through the New Year's resolution. It's okay. You can set a resolution and not make it and not feel shitty. Don't feel bad about it at all. Whatever it is you said, I'm coming into 2021, you know, you're December 2020, I'm coming into 2021 with this kind of energy, boom, boom, bap, bap. You know, what was that energy that you came in as? So just take some time to go back and reflect and to be able to look and see at how that changed. Like, how did that morph? Because life happens. Life happens. Allow things to change. Allow things to morph. Don't allow things to have to be the way that you thought it was going to be based off of that situation, that circumstance. Circumstances are changed. It's changed now. And then we have this Taurus energy. So this is probably a representation of Uranus in Taurus. So y'all get y'all practicality together. Get that debt paid off. Get that money together. Get everything that you need to get right. Get that together, because that is a part of this 7-year cycle that we are in. And the last time that happened, you know, was the Great Depression. So there's definitely going to be, or we've already seen this, the volatility that happens when you look at cryptocurrency, because that is, a lot of people are speculating that is the theme of Uranus and Taurus, this understanding of cryptocurrency and the highly volatile nature of it. But then at the same time, something about it being a currency that isn't based on an actual, like, a nation or something like that. You know, it's a revamping of how we're looking at finance. So more of that is going to come, like when you see things like Robinhood, where it's like you're able to do, and other places can do this now too, but like you're able to buy fractional shares. So instead, you know, not being able to afford Amazon, you can buy a fractional share and still get in on the benefits of all of this stuff. So all this little Taurian kind of stuff is what comes up, but most importantly, debt, you know, because Scorpio is like clearing the estate, debt, you know, it's fine if you're in those things. Taurian is not that. No, you shouldn't be in any debt. Like, you got to figure out how to get your money right, balance your budget, just have like self security. Have how secure are you, both in how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your money. So this is a lot of stuff that's coming up. I could definitely imagine quite a few people at the beginning of the year like, baby, I'm about to get this money right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this money is going to be overflowing, or, you know, I'm going to get in this career, or I'm going to get in this love, or I'm going to blah, 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 blah. I'm going to make this hobby or take it to the next level or something like that. Yes, and the best way to get there is like, yes, it is the, you know, areas of bringing money in, but it's also the Taurus and being practical with your money. making sure you're budgeting, making sure that you paid all your debt off, making sure you're investing, making sure, because think about it, like, that's how all these people make all this fucking money. It's not because they're paid a lot. Do you know how much money look, you got me all messed up. Do you know how much money you have to make really to live very well, to not have to save for retirement? I'm talking about multi-millionaires, because already, not millionaires in their value, but multi-millionaires making that type of money each year. Because, like, think about it, they probably live at a certain means, you know, and then you'd be a fool to think that you're gonna retire and still make the same amount of money. Or you never know when, like, you're not gonna be able to work in the same way or the same capacity. So the best thing that you can do, you know, if you can, max out your 401k, max out your IRA, max out have, you know, 3 to 6 months of your savings, you know, for emergency, and then have your savings, and then have the things that you want to build and invest on. And if you want to, if it's stocks, do stocks. Does your company have like an ESPP in which you can buy into it? Is it something like, I know I'm getting a little bit of financially whatever, but it's really, what is this Uranus and Taurus? You know, you want to have stability so that when there is change that happens, you're not as impacted. Think about it. When Uranus, the last time this happened and Uranus transitioned from Aries to Taurus, it was actually the first time that there was a commercial credit, so consumer credit. So in that time before, where people were spending all of this money, you know, on, like, you know, the roaring 20s, all of this money and being able to buy things without having to pay for it. Before, okay, this cost $10, but then you could put something on credit and you could pay it off slowly, and you could live the life you want tomorrow, today. You know, that's what the energy was. And then all of that came due. So then once Uranus hit Taurus at that point, all of that stuff came due. And that's what really caused that, like, stock market to crash, like not being able to afford that. And we've seen that before. You've seen it in the housing market, specifically in the US. It fluctuates different around the world based off of like what's going on there. What is very looming over the US now is the student loans, and a lot of different other things that are happening. We saw a very interesting aspect of what the heck was going on with Corona, where it was just like boom, 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 boom. So a lot of stuff, you could see those fluctuations there. But all of that simply to say is that the way it differs now from what it was then was that back at that time, it was more about the consumer debt, people not being practical. And then once things came for due, like business just falling apart. So if there's no more businesses, then there's no more ability for people to work. And then there's that, like, you know, they talk about that depression mentality where things were just so scarce that, like, when people grew up or grew out of that period, it's just like not being able to take a risk, you know, feeling like things were so not secure that the moment you get a sense of security, you're not able, you know, to let that go. The difference is nowadays is, for us, Uranus and Aries actually represented the rise of the social influencer, the rise of the prominence of reality TV, because we've always had reality TV, but it always seemed like a joke. Like it was like the wasteland that people went to. But during this period of time, this is where people could actually begin their careers and go on to do amazing things. So all things that were like Aries related, me here, personality, so social media, social influencer, the physical body. There was a lot of influencers who were like based off of just their aesthetic, working out, makeup as well, and you know, everybody's gonna enjoy makeup, but the transition, let me explain this to you. The transition during this time of going from the focus on makeup and beauty, in like the beauty aspect of like, wow, very dramatic look, then goes into a Uranus and Taurus where it's going to be the natural look. So it's going to be more skincare. And of course people don't wear makeup anyway, but people are going to enjoy just different aspects. And so then I talked a little bit about the finance, but I don't want to, you know, make it all about Uranus and Taurus. I'm just saying that if you take any advice from this, get out of debt, okay? Get your money right so that any fluctuation that happens, you're gonna feel nice and secure. You're gonna be ahead of the game. So let me see. Universe, any card to let us know about this moon cycle before we let this thing go. Patience. Patience is a virtue, especially during this Mercury in retrograde, okay? Take your time, child. Take your time. Well, I enjoyed our weekend together. I hope you've been enjoying us hanging out on the weekends. I know usually I'm whispering all the time, and now you get to hear my voice and hear maybe more of my personality. This is really what I sound like on an everyday basis. And just talk clearly out what's going on. So share in the comment section if there's anything that came up for you or anything that you particularly want to share. Why? Because you never know. You never know whose life you can change just by sharing yours. The fact that you lived this life up until this point means that you have something to offer and something to give. So share it with someone else, and comment on other people's stuff, and just love on each other. Just support each other. This is a beautiful collective understanding and channeling space. So why not? So I will see you next time, or see you on Reiki Healing Hope if you're there. Like, look, you can see me every day if you want to. If you're really pressed and you just want to kick it, you can see me every day. But I won't force you, but like, come through. Bye.